Mayor Tate, congratulations. How do you wrap your head around this moment? 50 years.
Well, it's been so quick, it's hard to put your arms around it. It's unbelievable, but it's a great time in life, and I'm glad I've lived long enough to enjoy it all.
As I was making my way to your house, I exited William D. Tate Avenue. Is it still special when you get on that roadway?
Well, it really doesn't seem like it's me. It's kind of neat to have, though, because people, when they see my driver's license or a credit card, they say, oh, you're named after the road. And so it's nice. It's a nice honor to have.
50 years ago, at age 30, you were the youngest mayor in the city of Grapevine. Now you're the longest serving mayor in the state of Texas. Has the idea of leadership changed over the last 50 years for you?
Oh, I think it has. You learn every day how to be better. I learn more about just knowledge more every day than I did in school. It's just the world is full of so much knowledge and you have such access to it. If you don't change, then you become stale. And that's one lesson I learned in life. You have to be prepared to change because nothing's forever.
How has Grapevine changed over the last 5 decades?
When I became mayor, it was a farming community just like it was when I grew up, with a lot of tradition and pride and a strong connection to our history. And now we become an international city shaped by the people who lived here. And I like to say I liked it then and I like it now.
That small town feeling has remained. How did you and city leaders pull that off?
That's what the people told me when I became mayor. Whatever you do, Mayor, don't lose our small town feel, our character, and our identity. So I worked very hard to try to preserve that, and so have the people. I think that's one thing that people enjoy living here, is because we've been able to do that.
When you started as mayor in 1973, there were only around 5,000 residents in the city of Grapevine, with a huge portion of the land tied up in DFW Airport and Lake Grapevine. Now there are 10 times that amount of residents here and a massive commercial tax base. How did you and the council pull it off over the past 50 years? How were you able to grow this city?
When I became mayor, I was awful young, perhaps looking back too young. And we were faced with the problem of even providing city services because about 2/3 of our land was not taxable. It was in the lake, in the airport, and the highways, the schools. So we had to put a business plan together, and that was sales tax. We made a list of people that collected sales tax, and we rode on airplanes and knocked on doors and went after them.
You went after getting Bass Pro Shops here, yes, the Gaylord Texan, Great Wolf Lodge, on and on.
Yes, we went after them. We knocked on doors. It took 7 years to get Bass Pro, and we were the first satellite store that Bass Pro put together when they started expanding. And we were lucky to get the Gaylord Texan, and they were coming to Texas to look at the Astrodome. They thought they might want to put it there. And while they were here, they decided to fly up to Grapevine and look at this site. And when they saw it, they said, that's it.
And having these commercial businesses here, what did that mean for the residents of Grapevine?
We collect a lot of sales tax from them, or they do, collect it for us. And 84% of the sales tax are paid by non-residents. And even though 1/3 of our land is taxable and the rest is exempt, we've dropped from 80-cent tax rate down to 22 cents in that 50 years. What I learned very early was people want more for less. More city services for less taxes. And that's something government has seldom been able to produce.
You talk about city services, the importance of having a good police department, a good fire department. You yourself have a pretty traumatic story about what happened to you back in 1975 and how the fire department really saved lives here.
Our house burned in 1975. And we were a volunteer fire department at that time. Lightning struck the house, and by the time I woke up, fire was going 100 feet into the air. and we were very lucky to survive that. But it's still emotional today to hear the sirens coming through the night, to be desperate for help, and to know that help's on its way. So I appreciate very much the fire and the police and the public safety, and we spend a lot of money for that because we have the lake and the airport and the highways, but it's well worth it.
What was the lesson that fire taught you?
It taught me to appreciate life and to realize, regardless how strong or healthy you might be, that fate strikes in very quickly and very unusual ways. I say every day is another day in paradise.
Let's talk about Great Fest and the importance of wine and wine culture now. Did you anticipate how impactful it would become?
I don't think we ever realized the potential of that. When I was growing up, we were a dry town. You had to go Dallas Circle to get a keg of beer or some whiskey. And, we were a Baptist town, a Methodist town, and people didn't drink here. But when the airport opened, we had to pass a referendum here so we could have liquor by the drink. And so alcohol came to our community, and we realized then the association of wine with our name and the potential that it might have. And so we started developing that, and we did it through Grape Fest. It was very small when it started, and now it's the largest wine celebration in the Southwest.
How proud are you of that?
Well, I'm very proud of that because it's given us recognition throughout the country and the world. But more than that, what it did was create an opportunity for volunteers to work at that festival every year and other festivals. And that gets people involved in the community. They feel like they're a part of the accomplishments that they have. They support worthwhile projects. They don't question you, everything you do. And so it made us a community. And that's really been the secret of my longevity and the successes we had here is the people working together. And so a 50-year Golden Jubilee is not a reflection of my career, but a celebration of the people and what we've been able to do over several decades of visionaries together and working hard and realizing what we could become.
And you were born and raised here, right?
Well, I was born in Fort Worth in a hospital because we didn't have one here. We've got a great one now. But anyway, they brought me home, and I've been here ever since. And, growing up in a small town, a cotton town, a farming town, a Christian town with a lot of values and a lot of traditions, where there wasn't any crime, and you could reach your own potential and be what you wanted to be, meant a lot to me. I didn't have a brother. I had a sister, but we roamed the neighborhood. I created my own fun, my own toys. I built my own toys, and we didn't have a whole lot. So now we can really appreciate what we have. 50
years in the city of Grapevine. There's a lot that goes on at City Hall. Is there anything that didn't make the news that you want to share with us?
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of things that happened at City Hall that we haven't really publicized or seen the day-to-day, but I've tried to forget those myself.
Has your artistic side influenced the way you govern and connect with the residents here in Grapevine?
Oh, I think it does. I think your background influences your personality and your profession and the way you do business and your attitude towards other people. I painted a lot when I was in my 30s when I was raising kids, and I write just for fun poems and country and western songs, campfire songs, and written a book. I'm working on 2 others. So, my mother was artistic. She was music oriented. She tried to teach me to play the piano, and I couldn't. I couldn't use my left hand, and I didn't practice. And so when I had a recital, it scared me to death. And I asked her if I couldn't maybe not have to do that anymore. And she said yes. I think it was an embarrassment to her too.
You and your wife, Betty, still drive around Grapevine every evening, she was telling me. After all these years, what do you notice on those drives that keeps you grounded or inspires you?
Just to see the opportunity and the things that are still being built. Cities live off of their growth. That helps provide more income to provide city services. And when building stops, then it's kind of like retiring, your income goes down. So I worried about that, but I realized that never happens in a city like Grapevine. There's going to be constant urban renewal where you're tearing down something and building something better because of the land values. So there's something good about that. I mean, we want to preserve our roots in our main street in our residential historic district, but it's also good to have something new. It's kind of like a marriage, something borrowed, something blues, something new, something old.
Where do you like to go now? I know I love going to Chef Fabian at Main Street Bakery. Where's your place you like to go hang out right now?
Well, I really like the Big Fish, and it's got that small town feeling, and really it portrays, like a lot of the other stores, the history of this community.
When you walk in, does anyone recognize you?
People recognize me everywhere. Everywhere I go, people recognize me, and they come up to me and talk to me and tell me who they are. They like to tell me how long they lived here, and they inevitably tell me how much they love to live and work here, that they've lived in many places, and this is the best place they've ever lived. That's the only reward you really get from being mayor for 50 years.
What do you want your legacy to be?
I give back to the community. I left a higher pile of wood than what I found. That I give the people what they wanted, more for less. We have more city services than almost any city our size, and our tax rate at 22 cents. We share the lowest tax rate of a city over 50,000 with Tyler, Texas. So we've been able to give more back, more city services for less. And government has failed to do that across the board. And I feel like that's really something unique that other cities haven't been able to do, that we've been able to do.
Your current term expires in 2027. Will you be running for mayor?
I'm getting old, and there has to be an end. I don't want to make any decision yet because I don't want to be a lame duck, but I'm thinking that it would be important for me to still be alive. I've been mayor for so long. Whoever follows me as mayor is going to need to have a period of transition, and I'd like to be a part of that transition and try to educate that person and work with that person so we have continuity and the people will still have confidence in our government and our leadership.
Up to this point, have elections basically been a formality?
No, not really. You can't take anything for granted. So I've always thought I was the underdog in every election, except those times when I wasn't opposed. And so there've been good times and bad. My children have campaigned for me, put out signs. I've had an army of people who've worked for me to support me and get me elected. People don't like change, and I've been mayor so long. People still say, Mayor, we want you to run again. We don't want any change. We're afraid of change. We're afraid of what happens when you're gone. People just fear the unknown, but it'll be fine. The best is yet to come, I think, in our community. 2027
might be the end of your run?
It could be. It could be. You have to realize that sooner or later you have to walk off the earth. And so it's not just giving up being mayor or retiring as a lawyer. You have to disappear. And so as you get older, you have to think about all those things. And they're all coming together at the same time for me. Well, I hope they remember me as the person that did something unique, something special. We preserved what we had in our heritage, and we built around us something that's bright and new, that supports our community and our good works, provides a lot of opportunity to people and a lot of things to do, and that everybody will always look back and say, I'm glad that I live in Grapevine, Texas. So it's been a special trip. It's been quick. It's amazing how fast life goes. I can think back now, just 30 years before I was born. We were back in the horse and buggy days and Model Ts and all of that. I never thought about that. Seemed like ancient to me when I was a kid, when my father was growing up on a farm and they weren't any cars. And They were riding horseback to town. He rode a horse to school. And so it's amazing how much change we've seen in that 50 years that I've been mayor. It's just incredible. And we've seen, the electronic age. When I was in school, they kept talking about electronics and how it's going to replace people, and here it is.
Where would you like to see Grapevine in the next 50 years?
And I hope we can hang on to our historic roots, and I hope we can maintain our values. What worries me is because of the cost of insurance and taxes, inflation, the cost of renting a building on Main Street is almost pricing these mom and pop stores where they can't make a living. It's putting them out of business, and I worry that it'll go back to offices or warehouses, that we can't hold on to it. If you look across Texas and see the main streets that have dried up and just wasted away, I would hate to see that happen to Grapevine, Texas. But if you don't continue to work on that and try to prevent that from happening, it will, because there's just something like centrifugal force that wants to tear down something old and build something new. And that's where the pressure is for that to happen. And to resist that, to hold on to something old, you have to restore it, you have to modernize it, you have to compromise it to be able to preserve it. And so that's a formula others have to learn, and I'm sure they will.
What will be your advice to your successor?
Listen to the people that live here. Try to do what they want you to do, because they know more than anybody else. Adlai Stevenson said about his hometown of Bloomington, many things are revealed to the humble that are hidden from the great. So listen to the people and continue to build a city that they want. Not what you want, but what they want. People told me early on, don't put the commercial on every corner like some cities. Put the commercial along the highways and then make it separate from the neighborhoods. And that's what we did. And people enjoy that. You go to Plano's and different places, you have shopping centers on almost every corner. So our model was different, and a lot of people have learned from that.
Well, congratulations, Mayor.
Well, thank you very much.
How does that sound to you? One of the longest serving mayors in the United States.
Well, it's kind of like the road. It doesn't feel like it's me. It couldn't be me, because it passed too quick. And I really don't like to take credit for a lot of things we have. We've had some really creative people, department heads through the years that have done the magic and come up with a lot of the ideals. It hasn't been just me. I've just been the skipper that tried to keep it down the center of the road.
You and of course, your family, every step of the way.
And I've had a good family. Family's big in Texas. It's been big in my family. I've enjoyed a great family and a good life. It would be hard to duplicate the life that I've had.